And good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me. It only took me 6 weeks to figure out how to broadcast in HD and not 420. So hopefully you can actually see me this time. And it's kind of ironic. What I want to talk about today is something called the backwards law. And as I talk about the backwards law, go ahead and share in the chat where you're watching from, dialing in from. I'd love to kind of see where folks are. So this week, I have a lot going on. A lot. I am flying out Wednesday to Florida to compete in a 12.5-mile race. I say compete in a race. I just want to finish it swimming around Key West. Then the week, I guess 2 weeks after that, the 26th, I'm doing a 5-day free course for men on emotional mastery. And then the week after that, I'm launching a 90-day program. And it's a lot. And I want everything to go right. And there was a quote. I love Alan Watts. For those of you that don't know him, he's a British writer and philosopher. And he has a quote that really stuck out to me while I was looking up stuff about swimming anyway. And his quote is, when you try to stay on the surface of the water, you sink. When you try to sink, you float. And that insecurity is the result of trying to be secure. And that reminded me, oh, yeah, the backwards law. And what the backwards law essentially means or says is the more you pursue something, the more you realize you don't have it. So let's use happiness as an example. So the more you want happiness in your life, the more one, you recognize that you're not currently happy because you don't have it. And you start putting all this external pressure on becoming happy. And when you're doing that, you kind of missing the whole point, which is just to be in the moment that you're in. And this is something that I really have tried to, I don't say try, that I'm pursuing for myself and that I've really made a lot of great strides in. And one of the things I work on with my clients is, yes, having goals is important, but what are we doing when we're focused on that present moment? So when we're always saying, I'll be happy when, like in thinking about this race, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for it to be over. What am I going to do when I'm out there in the ocean and I'm going to be tired and my shoulder's bothering me? Well, for one thing, I'm already future tripping. In thinking about the future, I'm not focused on where I'm at right now. London, I have someone dialing in from London. Hi, London. Um, sorry, that just took me out of the moment. It's nice to know that I have an international reach right now. So when we're not focused on the present moment, or we're seeking happiness, the irony is we feel less happy. Because happiness really comes from when we're focused on the present moment. Like what do I have right now? What's in this moment that can make me happy? Like I'm sitting inside, comfortable chair for the most part, talking with you, whether you're watching live or on the replay. And just appreciating all those little moments. That's true happiness. Because whenever I say I have to do this in the race, I have to finish it at a certain time, I start putting these metrics on what I have to have in order to be happy. I'm no longer in control of my own happiness. I'll say that again. Whenever I put metrics on what it will take for me to be happy, I'm no longer in control of my own happiness. Because then certain external criteria have to be met. Well, and I know that sounds, I don't know how it sounds to you, but for me, when I think through that, it makes a lot of sense because I used to say, well, when this happens, I'll be happy, and then I'm always putting situations outside of my control. Let's look at love, relationships, for example. The more you seek love, the more you want love and affection from somebody, the more you can end up coming from a place of neediness or desperation, and then you settle. You know, I had an ex-girlfriend from last year reach back out to me a couple weeks ago, and it's like, no, I don't want any part of that. And I just the recognition of being in a healthier place now. I'm not desperate for that affection, and finding that whenever any of us seek love, whenever we cultivate self-love and embrace our own uniqueness, then we can truly feel love in that moment. We don't necessarily need any kind of external validation to be able to feel that. Another place I get this a lot with clients is money. You know, we're talking about finances. Especially whenever I have a client that says, well, I just want to be financially secure. The question I ask them then is like, all right, what's the number? How much? You want to be financially secure? What number do you need for that? And then like, you know what? I never thought about a specific number. And I like using that example because we have these ideas in our head, but we don't have the metric of what it will take to fill that need or satiate that hunger. And then we're aiming just for an arbitrary thing. And until we get there, we feel empty because we'll never feel wealthy because we're chasing wealth. And by definition, we don't feel wealthy. Instead of focusing on what value do I have in my life? What passions am I following? I can have a rich life based on what I'm doing, which is part of the reason I'm doing this thing in Florida. Like I've been successful. I've made a lot of good money. And I've also felt very empty when I was successful. Whenever I was a personal trainer, I was doing really well. I had a waiting list for clients and I was working a lot, but I wasn't fulfilled. So that's why like I've decided, all right, well, what does that look like? What does having a fulfilled life looks like? So just think about that with the backwards law. Like what are you chasing? What are you striving for? And in the pursuit of that, what is it making you realize you don't have right now? And how can you frame it differently? So where can you experience those feelings in this moment? So like for this swim race, instead of thinking about, oh my gosh, I can't, it's going to be a struggle when I get there, when I'm going to do this thing. Instead of right now, I'm just here and I'm enjoying the fact that I've trained for it. I'm grateful that I'm healthy enough to be able to do it, or at least attempt it. And it's a reminder to ground myself in the present. Because anything that you're seeking, you have. Because the seeking is what creates suffering, and that's a much deeper conversation. And part of the reason I'm doing this class the end of this month, it's Men's Health Month in June. So the last week of this month, I'm doing a free 5-day challenge for men on just emotional mastery. And it's really been a great reminder for myself to think about what I'm feeling in these moments. And so when I'm sharing this about the backwards law of when you pursue happiness, you realize you're unhappy, that doesn't mean don't allow yourself to feel those feelings. Feel that feeling. Like if I'm feeling scared from the swim, I'll allow myself to feel that fear. If I'm feeling sad, I'll allow myself to feel that sadness and then really get to the root of what it is. Because once we examine the feeling under the light of awareness, we can realize what's the lesson it's trying to tell me. So I know today's a little bit more of a rambling session, but it's coming from a place of all the things that I'm pursuing right now, and not setting my happiness on the achievement of those things. I'm doing these online courses. I'm pivoting. I had one of my large corporate clients has cut back on their budget, and that's fantastic because now it opens up an opportunity for me to shift. And when I view life that way, it's so freeing. I think about when COVID happened and I was a personal trainer and I had to adapt. I guess I didn't have to adapt. Some people don't adapt. And I guess that's one of the issues. So I chose to say, all right, well, what's within my control? So I moved the gym to my yard, trained outside. And I remember weighing rocks. It's a desertscape yard, weighing rocks to see how much they weighed and writing with nail polish on the rocks so that we could put them in grocery bags for clients to lift because we didn't have weights. So focusing on those moments of being able to solve the problem, that creates a positive state of emotion. So again, I guess the backwards law of when you're seeking positive experiences, you end up feeling negative. But let's look at the opposite of that. When you end up conquering or confronting a negative experience, you feel positive because you overcame it. Ultimately, it's about the person that the journey makes you. So doing the swim, there's not some arbitrary line in the water that when I cross it, I'm going to feel like, well, I crossed that line. It's about the journey that it took. It's the person that it made me to get there. So if you're seeking wealth, it's not about just hitting the lottery. It's about the journey it took for you to establish the financial discipline or to develop a skill or to be able to have a talent or to network or to invent something, to be creative in order to establish the means to have that wealth. It's the journey that takes you to that goal that makes you who you are. And when you appreciate that journey, that's where you find the fulfillment and satisfaction in that moment. Because you're not chasing that positive experience of what the finish line is going to look like. You're enjoying what you're learning from the challenge you're overcoming. You're growing from the obstacles or the things you're learning along the way. It's how do you view it? That's what it's all about is your mindset. So, what are you doing to find peace and joy in this moment? Still have your goals. But what would it feel like if you were just intrinsically enjoying the process of getting there? Instead of saying, I want wealth, say, you know what? I want to be able to, I want, I, or let's rephrase it. I caught myself. What if you say, I am somebody who's wealthy and I am somebody who's building that wealth by doing the things I'm doing? I am somebody who's lovable and capable of love, and it begins with loving myself. I am somebody who's getting to experience the world and challenge his body by signing up for a swim like this and by training and seeing what I'm capable of on that journey. So enjoy the journey. I guess that's what my message is. Yeah, just accepting your current experience, not wishing it was any different, not wishing it was any more positive than it is, or any, well, I don't suppose you'd wish it was any, any more negative than it is, but just embracing it, embracing where you are in the journey. What about this moment makes it so unique and special? The fact that you get to be alive right now and experience whatever it is you're feeling is a miracle. And I know that sounds so trite, but we seldom slow down to really appreciate that fact of what a blessing this is, even in our most challenging moments. What are you learning from that? What is that pain or discomfort teaching you? And sometimes the lesson is just that it's to be endured and to appreciate the next moment, to just feel whatever it is you're feeling right now. So again, I am going to be heading to Florida Wednesday, and I'm flying back Monday morning early, so I should be able to go live and give you a full recap next Monday of how that experience went. I do have my class. It's Emotional Mastery for Men. It's a free 5-day workshop or challenge, free 5-day challenge, June 26th. So for guys out there, the information will be on this page. It's just Bergeron Wellbeing/emotions. If you want to go there to check it out, it's completely free. Would love to see you there and help just teach you some of the tools that have helped me along the way. Just learn to embrace my emotions and actually make them my strongest asset of being able to lean in and feel what I'm feeling and help it allow them to help guide me for where I want to be. So thank you for listening today. I appreciate you. And let me know what your biggest takeaway is. Share in the chat. What do you think? Did you get anything out of the session today? Let me know. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.